Alright, for now for me mo bibi akwa basa church bibi abim edeba enkasa TV so enkasa kase eboso na edrususisi abusia for yimbowura eye ensenimu ntentem ya yinkopie mu wo eye Rich Hospital na abusia for nyina nim incident e cause wo Rich Hospital I just say Raf Japan Raf the fellow Ghanaians etimi ekodi eniamo ho nsem bi wo Rich Hospital achese abusiafo eba na wiye na eye nurse baako efamu ade apira na eno na asem na kopie mu high court achese abusiafo enya asem kito na asem we kopie mu high court no ena eye omo ano mo hospital ho eni nurse no ena de akọ ede Rafa akọ gina eye wakosu eye Rafa chese original 7 million Ghana cedis a chese even omo no mo ha na Raf didi no or pese o video omo nyina no omo so chese omo wa invade omo into omo privacy into no omo su Raf 7 million Ghana cedis na eno na court na dey letter tintin abeto abontin say Raf be defending no ho anya san sika na otwa no mo man 7 days ultimatum so on metwa sika no nti mepese obeka me woni akutie ensen mu enchemu ye pa ayen kasa tibe ye the update any trending news nkonya disumia TV for nyefo yenkoma yekoba de kan bia mbebram
to Raf St. Williams, aka Raf the fellow Ghanaian. They say about be defendant. And at the plaintiff, Rejoice Chocho Bote ya wayenes nino and others. Statement of claim. Almost the plaintiff is a nurse and is currently undertaking national service stroke rotation at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Rage Hospital in Accra. 2. The defendant is a Ghanaian and a self-styled activist with an active presence on social media, TikTok, Instagram, etc., with the handle Raf the fellow Ghanaian inter ally. On Sunday, the 17th day of August 2025, the plaintiff was on duty at the Rage Hospital assisting with care of patients under the leadership of the nurse in charge. Whilst care was being given to patients, a person who had apparently suffered a vehicular accident was brought in and was being cared for. Suddenly, the defendant, leading some thugs, underline the word thugs, also entered the facility, and the defendant demanded impatiently to be treated for what he described as an injury to his fingers. The defendant demanded that the staff abandon the patient whose treatment were critical, including the one who has suffered a vehicular accident, to rather attend to him. Among the patients undergoing treatment at the time, per records from the hospital, was one with an open fracture of the head that was actively bleeding, and efforts were being made to arrest the bleeding. When the defendant was asked by the appropriate staff to get his hospital card, the defendant insisted he would not get any hospital card and that his Ghana card should suffice, as he has all his personal information on the Ghana card. When he was informed that it is not done like that in Ghana, and that no Ghana card has medical records of any individual, he got visibly angry, hurled insults, abuses, threats at the hospital staff without any provocation, and audio and video recorded evidence has been made available at the court. The defendant at all material times was even videoing the staff and patients in the room without consent or authorization, an act which clearly breaches the confidentiality required for medical treatment, as according to the Ghana Medical Association Act 119, Act 76, also enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. The defendant unlawfully published the said video recordings online. 1. Without the consent of the hospital. 2. Without the consent of the hospital staff. 3. Without the consent of the patients and their families. Though there was no active bleeding on the defendant's fingers, as according to hospital records, the plaintiff personally provided first aid to the defendant and dressed his wounds to give him reassurance and comfort so that he could go and get a hospital card for full treatment. The defendant, who was prancing to and fro, intentionally removed the dressing the plaintiff did for his wounds and without any apparent reason went outside, marshaled some thugs and led them forcibly into the treatment room and emergency room, telling them that the staff had abandoned the patients. Due to the menacing and aggressive posture of the defendant and the accompanying thugs, some of the staff who saw them took to their heels. Some staff suffered injuries as a result of the running. The plaintiff was busily engrossed in the provision of care for patients, and while she was diligently attending to patients, the defendant and his followers accosted her. The defendant, without provocation, struck the plaintiff's left hand with a clenched fist and a metallic cell phone. The attack took the plaintiff by surprise, as it was entirely unwarranted and without provocation. The defendant and his followers, who were well-built men, some speaking Ga, some speaking Pidgin, some speaking Hausa, escalated the attack and pounced on the plaintiff and brutally beat her to pulp from behind and all over her body. Medical records have been given to attest to the beating. As a result, the plaintiff sustained injuries to her right shoulder, left lower arm, back, waist, and other parts of her body. She also currently has severe headaches, excruciating chest pains, and body pains following the attack. The plaintiff now suffers frequent panic attacks and nightmares as a result of the brutal attack. The plaintiff has suffered injury as a result of the direct, voluntary, and intentional contact with the plaintiff's person by the defendant and his mob, obviously without the consent of the plaintiff. The defendant has stated that he was home when he was informed that somebody had been involved in the motor accident, that he had heard that health workers allegedly do not provide proper care to motorbike accident victims, and so he called his guys and proceeded to go to the Rich Hospital with them to make sure that they teach the health workers a lesson and force them to provide proper care to the accident victim. And this audio